If you want to grow on Instagram, you're going to need to post a lot. But for someone with other responsibilities in life, such as work or college, it can be very difficult to keep up with feeding more and more content to the social media machine. Posts don't have a very long shelf life either, and this is especially difficult when you're an artist who spends anywhere between 3 and 20 plus hours on one piece, only for someone to scroll down their feed, stare at it for half a second, double tap it, and then keep scrolling. Some amazing pieces barely get any attention, and then before long they've stopped being recommended to people at all and are just sat collecting dust at the bottom of your profile. But art isn't really made to just be looked at once and then ignored forever. So in this video, I'm going to tell you 6 ways that you can get the most out of your pieces you make, so that you can post more without having to work any harder than you already are. The first way is to post WIPs, which stands for work in progresses. A really great example of a big Instagram artist doing this is Alicia Nye. You can see here that she posts a sketch, then the finished piece, again she posts the sketch and then the finished piece. And if your sketches aren't as beautifully polished as hers are, you can post something later in the process but still not quite finished, like I've done here with this Draw This in Your Style challenge I did. To keep this from making your feed look boring and repetitive, I'm going to give you some extra tips which will apply to all of the repost tips that I'm going to give you. So you need to make each repost of the same piece different enough from one another. As you can see in both my profile and Alicia's, we're both changing up the angle on these posts. For example, either the picture of the art is literally taken from a slightly different angle, or one of the reposts is zoomed in on one specific feature of the drawing, and in this case it's the face. This makes each post look significantly different and makes it look more like its own thing. The colour palette is also slightly different in each repost. And if you're still worried about your repost looking repetitive, you can just wait a bit longer to repost so that they're not right next to each other on your feed. Tip number 2 is to do carousel posts, and this is something really well demonstrated by an artist I absolutely love called Galactixy Illustrations. So first of all, what I mean by carousel is when you post multiple images in one post on Instagram. That's called a carousel, if you didn't know. So she will take a bunch of old pieces which are just buried at the bottom of her page, and she will repost a bunch of these in one post that has a specific theme. So for example, she has these 4 square pieces which she does, which are all themed around one colour, and she will just repost a bunch of these drawings all together. You can see an example on my own page where I posted a bunch of these drawings I did of cute little houses, and this is great because you can revitalize a bunch of old drawings that you still love and are still proud of all at once. And it's even better if someone new who has never seen your art before discovers one of these posts, because then they'll see all these cool examples of what you make in just one post without them having to, see one, think it's cool, and then take that extra effort to tap on your profile and check out all of your other pieces, which for a lot of people, they aren't really going to be bothered to do that. So it's just convenient for them to see all this great work at once, and then maybe they'll give you a follow. Tip 3 is to repost your work as products. A great example of this is by Helen Boucher. She reposts all of her works whenever she makes them into products, and it just looks so great and works so well on her feed because the colour palette is not all over the place. It's quite similar in terms of composition too. Everything that she posts is very minimal, so it all matches, and her photography of her products is just really nice. It's well lit and has very simple, non-distracting, clean backgrounds. It's great because you can show off your favourite pieces in these aesthetic posts and maybe influence a few more sales at the same time as well, so it's a win-win situation. And when I am big enough one day to be making stickers and charms and things out of my work, which is going to be so cool and I'm so excited for when that day can come, I will definitely be making use of this trick to show off my art again in a new way. Tip 4 is posting your work as a reel. And we're going to go back to Alicia Nye for this one. She's just the queen of getting the most out of her art, honestly. You can see that she has all these reels of her process during these pieces, followed by the actual pieces themselves. And these are either her actually working on the piece bit by bit, or sometimes they're these tip videos that she makes. So with the piece she's doing, she'll also like sometimes turn it into a mini tutorial and get 2 posts out of it that way. And again, we can see she's changing the angle so it looks new and different on her feed. And I'm actually going to be making a video shortly about how I edit my Procreate speed paints to make them into more interesting reels, because just a speed paint on its own as a reel can sometimes be quite boring for viewers. And yeah, like I say, I'll be releasing a video about that soon, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. But if you don't make digital art and you don't know how to film yourself making something, don't worry. You can still turn your pieces into reels by, for example, you can film a video showing off art products that you've made. You can turn your art products into a reel. Or you can do one of those reels where the song starts and you have a blank canvas and then the song like hits a beat or a drop or something, and at that point you then transition to the finished piece. But reels are being pushed so hard by Instagram now, and they have a longer shelf life than like regular picture posts. Mine consistently get around 2,000 views when I use a popular song with them, so you can definitely make some quick and easy reels to show off your art, again because it's just so worth it if you want to grow. Tip 5 is to post different versions of the same post. So maybe you have multiple backgrounds, you couldn't decide which one you liked better, or multiple colour palettes but you couldn't decide which one to post, and you can just post both. I actually did it a while ago with a tiger piece. I did 2 different colour palettes, but I posted them quite far apart. And finally, tip 6 is to just straight up repost your work as is. If you have something that you loved and you still loved, but you posted it absolutely ages ago, and you would have to scroll down so far to find it, it's perfectly fine just to repost without any like fancy adjustments to make it different at all. I recently did this with this super old squirrel post of mine because I still think it's great, but at the time when I posted it, which was literally years ago now, I didn't have as many followers as I do now, so I probably had like 60, and now I have almost 300, so I know for a fact that most of my followers now have probably never seen this piece, so it is brand new to them, and I am perfectly fine to just repost it and show it off again and give it the attention that it deserves. And you are too. Don't feel guilty about stretching your art content so that it has more value for you in the long term, because you worked hard on that and you deserve for people to see it. So the final bonus tip, if you want to post consistently but work less, is to have a backlog of work. So on the days when you're not as busy, you can be working on more pieces that you can then post when you're super busy. So like instead of posting something as soon as you've finished it and having bursts where you post a lot followed by these long empty periods where like you just don't feel in the mood to create anything, you can create a posting schedule instead. So say you want to post twice a week, Monday and Thursday, let's say. You can save up your posts so that when you're not in the mood to be creating new stuff, you can still look like you are a productive girl boss who posts consistently, even when you're actually just sat on your ass watching Netflix. It's just so helpful to plan ahead like that. And that's it for my tips. So I hope these help you out. And always remember that growing on any social media platform is super difficult to do from scratch. It's not going to be a linear process either. Sometimes you have an explosion of attention and sometimes it just goes super slow, but there is room for everyone. Like just looking at how many people I follow like 400 artists, and I follow different people too on other platforms like YouTube. I follow even more different artists, so there really is room for you to succeed because everyone has their own specific tastes, and sometimes it can feel really demoralizing, but there is genuinely room for everyone because there is going to be a niche of people out there who like what you're making, and you just have to reach those people. Best of luck to all of you, and thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more of my content, then please consider following me. My name is Lola Holliday on all platforms, and I hope this video has been helpful. Bye!